Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational race. We are at the Kansas Motor Speedway for the seventh race of season number 4, and we are at our third mile-and-a-half oval of the season, and they've all been pretty different so far this year. We went to Atlanta first, which is more of a super speedway than anything, and then we went to Homestead uh, back at the start of April, and now we're kicking off May with another mile-and-a-half racetrack that races pretty differently in the Kansas Motor Speedway. 35 drivers here today, as per usual, and we've been racing at this track ever since the inaugural season. It always puts on some fantastic racing. It's a lot of people's favorite mile-and-a-halfs right now, considering what the racing's looked like in the NASCAR Cup Series, and of course, this track's always been pretty good in NR as well. Joined alongside me in the booth for the first time, this season, we have a repeat co-commentator. Caleb Rose is back in the booth. You last saw him back at Rockingham, and Caleb, what are you thinking so far of how the season has played out compared to last year?
So far, it's definitely been a lot of fun. It's definitely played out a lot differently than we've seen from previous seasons. Of course, we got all the ratings and everything in effect, and I think they're producing some pretty great results here so far. It's really nice seeing a lot of familiar faces up towards the front of the field, and really helps kind of flesh out these storylines a little bit. But I'm definitely gonna continue those things here today. It's going to be a great race. I think Kansas is definitely up there. I think in terms of how the 1.5 mile tracks go, I think it's definitely up there, along with Atlanta, Homestead, Miami Speedway. But yeah, it's going to be a fun race here today, and kind of like going off what I said, we've been seeing all these drivers that we usually see up towards the front here, back up front once again. Of course, you got Tim Berry, you got Corbin Taps. They're up towards the front. Pretty familiar faces so far this season. I have to see how they do here today, but it's going to be a fun race, no doubt about that.
And despite there definitely being a clear pecking order here, we have not seen a repeat winner in terms of the drivers. We've had 6 different winners to start off the year. And, at this point, that's pretty normal for LSCI. I mean, last year we went, I think, what was it? 17 races or something like that before we saw a repeat winner, but that was with the equal ratings. But we are definitely seeing our main 2 teams being McPicky Motorsports and Hudson Motorsports. They've won 5 of the first 6 races, and the one that they didn't win was the one that ended because the game crashed. So in terms of races that finished to the very end, they're 5 for 5. If you're a driver for another team like Columbia Motorsports, who is another powerhouse, or even someone like Andrew Kreider or Adrian Fearson, who you can see is starting up front here today, what do you think these drivers need to do to topple the teams at the top?
I think it's definitely probably going to be a little bit of a tough task, especially with just how good that a lot of these top teams have been. But we've seen a lot of the other teams have quite a lot of speed, and I think you saw that here today earlier in qualifying, where we've got Andrew Kreider in the 70s starting on the pole. So he's definitely got some speed here today. Just because we've seen like those top teams up towards the front doesn't mean we could see other teams up towards the front as well. So I think it's really just going to kind of come down to how the cards fall. Never really. It's of course it's still NR2003. Anything can still happen in this game. You know how it can be, but I think a lot of these teams maybe be relying on right place at the right time. You could rely on strategy and whatnot, and of course there's the RNG factor in there as well, which could definitely make or break your race. But yeah, regardless of the fact, it's definitely going to be a bit of a task to overturn these top teams. But I think the rest of these teams definitely have what it takes, and I think we're seeing it, especially here today with cars like the 70 starting on the pole.
I think of all the tracks on the schedule, Kansas is one of the ones where you really got to make sure you have your car nailed down. I think Auto Club last week was also one of them, but we even saw it in qualifying, where generally the top teams were at the top. You didn't see that many surprises aside from the 70 and the 27. But yeah, let's go over your starting lineup. Andrew Kreider starting on pole today. Definitely a surprise for sure, but a welcome one too. Good to see him up here. And alongside him is the guy that has not finished lower than ninth yet this season and is currently leading the points. Also last week's winner, Tim Berry in the number 11. Row number 2, we've got Corbin Taps in an interesting paint scheme. This is one that some of you might be used to seeing on the Pacific Racing 32, but this sponsor moved to McPicky Motorsports and is now sponsoring Corbin Taps for a few races, this being the first of them. Alongside him is Adrian Fearson, who, if you remember last year, had a very good run in this race, almost won it, but ended up losing to Jacob Lopez. Maybe she'll have another chance here. She's not been particularly fast this season, and she DNQ'd last week, but the NH cars are pretty good, so we'll see if she can get a good result here. Row number 3 is a pair of Columbia Motorsports cars, the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck and the 39 of Laken Herndon. Probably the most surprising team that hasn't won yet, but I feel like it's only a matter of time. You got another Columbia car up here as well, the 99 of Akiya Tajima, alongside the 45 car of James Harvin. Row number 5, Gianni McJasmina. There's another surprise up there, qualifying inside the top 10 after not making the race last week. And alongside her is the 88 car of Billy Smith. Row number 6 is Shauna Everett in the 57 and the 1 car of Kevin DuPont. And then it's the 40 of Adrian Wheeler and the 29 of JB Chanot. Got the 3 of George Bryan and the 66 of Tyler Landry. Then it's the 18 of Zach Dearman and the 8 of Darren Walker. And in row number 10, it's the 62 of Vinny Scholes and the 85 of Charlie McCarran. Row number 11, the 55 of Michael Harvin and Dawson Lynn making his first LSCI start here. It seems like we got at least one of these guys making their debuts this each week. Last week we didn't have any, but there's a lot of different drivers that have been stepping into cars here, and that's really cool to see. Dawson Lynn has been making a name for himself down in the amateur series as of recent. He won a race at Phoenix, and now he's going to get a shot in the Blake Everett Motorsports 36. Behind them, you've got the 9 of Lori Jackson and the 42 of Lulu Connie. Then it's a couple of our faster drivers, the 81 of Jack Gino and the 77 of JT Boyd. They'll have to storm their way through the field. Rhea Whitcomb in the 2 car, making her first start of the season, not her first start in LSCI. She's made quite a few at this point, but this is her first start of the year in the Martin Swain race team Chevrolet. Then you got the 6 car of Holly Martin, your Rockingham winner. That's the driver who won last time Caleb was in the booth with me. Row number 15, you've got the 52 of Ashley Blake and the 13 of Damon Kirby. Row number 16 is the 50 of Jacob Lopez and the 41 of Karina Willis Calloway. Then it's the 24 of Cooper Spur and the 19 of Jake Sidney. And rounding out the field today is the 58 of Joanna Clark. Your 3 cars that did not make the race were Kate Summers in the 92, Tamarin Bellinger in the 65, and the 35 of Rebecca Raymond once again did not make the race. I think at this point they're going to have to make some changes for that 35 team, because that's pretty bad. Not making 5 of your first 7 starts. That we might see some shakeups there very soon. But it's going to be a 67 lap race here today. Should be a 2-stopper, just like most of the other mile and a halves. But yeah, I'm excited to get this race underway and see what Kansas has to offer here this year. It's given us some good races in the past, and I'm expecting nothing different here today.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off of the Kansas backstretch. Make sure there's no mechanical failures on the start, and there isn't. Caleb, who do you think's going to win today?
Well, so far in my tenure here in the booth so far this season, I am 1 for 1 seeing McPicky Motorsports go to victory lane. So I think I'm going to go with McPicky Motorsports again. Like you said, they've definitely been one of, if not the best team so far this season. So I think I'm going to go a couple rows back, actually. I think I'm going to go with the number 66 of Tyler Landry to get his 2nd win of the season here today. I believe he won earlier on the season at Homestead, Miami, if I believe. So we know he knows how to get it done here at these mile and a halves.
Yep, he has won our last mile and a half track. Maybe he can do it here again and be our first repeat winner. Andrew Kreider and Tim Berry lead them to the green. They're into turn 1, and we are underway here at Kansas. Coming off of turn number 4, Andrew Kreider with an incredible jump on the start. He's going to lead lap number 1. Corbin Taps is going to move into into second, and they are 3 wide further back. These starts can be pretty chaotic. Adrian Fearson, who started in 4th, has already slipped back right into the middle of the soup here. And that's not a great start for the number 27 for sure, but out in front, the 16 and 99, Tajima gained quite a lot of spots on that initial start, and he might be looking underneath Corbin Taps as well. They got very close to making contact there, and that's kind of a similar thing to what we saw at Auto Club, where they'd get very close to each other off the exit of the corner. That could cause some trouble later in the race, but so far they're keeping it under them, and Tajima's going to move up into second.
A lot of shuffling here going on here in the early stages of this race. Like you mentioned, you get the 27, Adrian Fearson, unfortunately going backwards here off the start. The inside lane is where you want to be here around the Kansas Speedway, and eventually we might see that outside lane kind of rubber in as we get later into the race, but here in the early stages, there's just absolutely no grip at all on that outside lane, and anybody who gets stuck up there is pretty much going to get freight trained and sent right to the back, and especially now when everybody's bunched up together, that's pretty much a one-way ticket to the back of the field. And we're definitely seeing that right now as we got cars shuffling pretty much just about everywhere. Zach Dearman might have got a bit desperate there to get back down to the bottom. Almost cut McCarron off there, but back up front we might have a pass for the race lead. Brewing here is Tajima. Looks to the inside of Andrew Kreider at the 40 of Adrian Wheeler right in tow.
I was going to point out that Charlie McCarron, who started in row 10, has already made her way up into 7th, but we've got a battle for the lead right now. Kreider's doing a great job holding serve on the top side. You can make the top lane work for a little bit, but it's not really that easy to make a pass up there. Adrian Wheeler is going to look down to the bottom. Wheeler has not had a good season whatsoever, and he moved over to Motor Racing Ventures. That was seen as an upgrade by most people over Checkered Flag Racing, but hasn't worked out for him so far. He's had pace occasionally, like at Auto Club and also at Coda, so actually the last few weeks he's had some good speed, but he just hasn't gotten the results he's wanted. He's looking underneath the 99 here, and he's not going to get the spot there. But these two are familiar with each other. They had a battle for the win back at Kentucky last year, which is another race that you called with me, Caleb, but well, maybe we'll have another round of that here as the 70's going to look underneath, try and bump him potentially, but it's not going to work out, and the 40's going to stay in second.
Kreider might have got a little bit loose there, trying to kind of shove his nose there down the inside of the 40 of Wheeler, and maybe had to check up just a little bit. That's going to open a gap up between 3rd and 2nd place, and now Kreider's got a mirror full of Tim Berry and Laken Hearn, and that was a good run there off of turn 4 for the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. And yeah, we know these two are definitely quite familiar with each other as Wheeler peaks down low, going into turn number 1. On to roll that bottom quite well is Tim Berry, also trying to make a move there on Kreider for the 3rd position, but Tajima actually was able to roll the top there pretty well. They're going to stay side by side going into turn number 3. But of course, like I said, that bottom lane is where you want to be here around Kansas, and Wheeler poking ahead for the time being. Still not quite clear of Tajima. Looks like they are going to clear Tajima here going into turn number 1, but Tajima put up a pretty good fight there on that outside lane. That 99 car might have a bit of pace here under the hood of that Columbia Motorsports Toyota.
That's the exact same thing that Andrew Kreider did when Tajima tried to pass him. We've already seen 2 changes for the lead within the first 10 laps, and it's the number 40 of Adrian Wheeler. And don't look now, here he comes again, Tim Berry. He has 6 top 10s in 6 starts. He's coming off a win at Auto Club. He was the championship favorite going into the season. He's the championship favorite right now. And if I'm everybody else, that's the guy that I want to be beating, and you do not want to see him in your rearview mirror. The only solace you get is that he is not ahead of you. But these front 4 are starting to break away here. They're bringing Laken Herndon with them, who's having quite the turnaround here after a rough start in that 39 car, including missing the Coda race. But he had a good run at Auto Club, and he's trying to back it up here. Here comes Berry to the inside of Tajima, and he's going to bring the 39 with him, but Tajima, again, is going to roll the outside, which you can do on defense pretty well. It's just not that viable to make a pass up there, but it can work if you're trying to defend it. And for 5th, here comes McCarron on the inside of Andrew Kreider. She has absolutely hustled through the field. So is Zach Dearman, who started 1 row in front of her. But it looks like your pick to win, Tyler Landry, might have something to say about that here soon.
They're trying to go underneath McCarran there. McCarran looking to hold strong on that outside lane. Maybe starting to see it rubber in here just a little bit. And like you said, while it definitely might not be the best lane to pass, it is definitely a viable lane if you are looking to defend against the car behind you. And might have to see it in action right here as Tim Berry trying to go after it. Kia Tajima here for the second position. I'd say the outside lane is definitely a pretty viable here in turns 1 and 2. We'll see if Tajima can send it in on the outside of the 11, but Barry was able to roll that bottom really well there, maybe a bit too well, as he's already trying to look for a way around the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. Got a great run there off of turn number 2, and he is all over the back bumper of that 40 car.
40 did not get through 1 and 2 very well, but he pulled a block down there through 3 and 4, and that disrupted the 11's momentum. Trying to open that gap back up. Adrian Wheeler in front right now. Tajima looking back under Barry for second, and he's going to have help from his teammate, but he's not. Again, you can roll on exit off of turn 2, especially in defense there. But Herndon looks like he's going to go on the attack, and he's going to try and pass Tajima for third. And that's going to allow the 11 of Tim Barry to pull ahead of them both and focus on the 40 car. It looks like Herndon might get that spot away from Tajima. Landry is back in 5th. Kreider slipped to 6th, but he's still doing a good job. A little bit further back, we see Joe Smith, Corbin Tapp, Shauna Everett, Lulu Connie kind of hanging out outside the top 10 right now, but trying to break in. Billy Smith, James Harvin has shown up as well, so just keeping an eye on those guys on the edge of the top 10, some of which started pretty far back in the field, so we'll see if those guys can find their way up towards the front. But right now, it's Adrian Wheeler and Tim Barry pacing the field here at Kansas. We're about a quarter of the way through the race, and we should expect them to come in and pit in about 10 laps. So tire fall off not very big here, but it could matter at the end depending on when you pit.
Definitely. Strategy is definitely still well in the occasion here in this race, especially with it being a 2-stopper. So especially if this thing goes green all the way to the end, that could definitely still play a pretty big factor in where everything will shake out as we get into the later stages of this race and eventually who will be walking home a winner. But I'll tell you who's definitely looking like a winner right now is the 11 of Tim Barry. That 11 car is fast, but Adrian doing a really good job right now at playing defense, holding that 11 at bay. But with how fast this 11 car is, I have no doubt that he'll probably get around that 40 car eventually. The matter is when. I have to see how long it'll take him, but if he stays behind the 40 too long, he might actually draw a couple more cars in, as here comes the 39 of Lakin Herndon. Tim Barry maybe trying something different here, going a bit of a lane higher, but not quite going to work out for him, and that's going to open the door wide open for the 39 of Lakin Herndon to maybe take a peek.
Yeah, Wheeler was taking his line away, so he tried something different in turn 2. He knows that he can get good runs off the corner, but that's giving space for Lakin Herndon to try and make a run on him. Herndon got a good run off of turn 4. We'll see if he'll be able to get under the 11, and if these two go side by side, that'll definitely help out the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. They're all going to close in on each other into 1 and 2. I think Wheeler's problem here, I think the one thing that's kind of holding him from pulling away is that he's very slow on entry in turn 1. But other than that, he's pretty good around the rest of the racetrack. These guys just can't quite find a way around him yet. This 39, I think, is getting a little impatient. He's getting closer to the back bumper of the 11. Front 3 all under a blanket right now. They're both going to make a move to the inside. Wheeler's going to go up the racetrack, and there you go. Tim Barry's going to take the lead. That's our third lead change of the race here on lap number 20. Herndon's going to try and follow suit. We'll see if Wheeler can hold on to the spot, and it looks like he will.
Split move right there, and like you said, the 40 car looked like their weakness might have been just the entry to turn 1 there. Had to get out of the gas a little bit more than we've seen a lot of these other guys and kind of sacrifice their mid-corner speed, and we saw Tim Barry taking advantage of that right now, diving to the inside, going into the corner, and rolling that bottom wheel to get by the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. And now that 40 car is in a little bit dirtier area, starting to slip back just a little bit as the 39 Lakin Herndon's going to get by for second. And also now here comes the 99 of Kia Tajima, looking to potentially take the third spot away. Looking for them back to Landry, chilling in the 5th position right now. You got Zach Dearman making a pretty good charge here so far, up into the 6th position. Kreider still hanging on, a good run for Kobe Hollenbach and James Harvin as well. You also got Billy Smith there hanging out in the top 10, so good stuff there for him. And they're still up here. Shout out to the 42 Lulu Connie with a great run there. Looks like he might have lost a couple positions as one of Kevin DuPont making their way up towards the front. Lulu's still doing good there in the 42, so yeah, good stuff there for them. Nice to see some of these smaller teams doing really well here so far here today.
And Lulu Connie's teammate, Karina Willis-Calloway, not too far behind, battling with the car behind. Darren Walker, Ashley Blake's up here in the top 20. And you see two of our kind of surprise top 10 starters racing each other outside the top 20 now. So I guess they had a pretty good short run pace, but not really good long run pace. Hudson Motorsports not very fast here today. And that was one of the two teams I said to watch out for. Jake Sidney and Jack Gino are in the back. Dearman's up in the top 10, but that's it. Looks like Wheeler's back underneath Herndon for the second position, and he's going to move up. Tim Berry is not pulling away from these guys. The 40, the 39, and the 99 are staying within striking distance. The 66 isn't too far back of them. And then you've got a gap back to Zach Dearman, James Harvin, and then these guys. So I think these four are probably the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. Tyler Landry's close, but not quite up to their level. And then you've got everybody else, basically. But definitely watch out for these four if this race stays green to kind of mingle amongst themselves. But we could see some drivers try some strategy to try and get up into this pack. And we might start to see that happen here within the next few laps as they're really going at it here. They're side by side down the backstretch. They still caught Tim Berry. I wonder if Berry is kind of taking it easy now that he's got the clean air up front.
He'll be doing it, you know, don't have to tear your stuff up if you're just chilling up towards the front, but kind of unique stuff we're seeing. Got pretty much all of our top contenders here under a blanket, and now Tyler Landry's actually caught up, so that 66 might have something under the hood there for the long run as he's closing in here on the 99 of Akiya Tajima.
Oh,
but our top
man.
three especially are just going after each other right now as Adrian Wheeler looked to the inside of the 39 of Lakin Herndon, and he was not about to take no for an answer there.
The 40 and the 39 are racing each other very aggressively. Looked like Tajima was about to cross over the 40, but the 66 got down there first. And Landry's going to try and move into fourth. James Harvin looks like he took sixth from the 18 of Zach Dearman. And they're still battling for P4 right now. Tyler Landry, Akiya Tajima. Tajima's going to slip back to fifth, it looks like. These two right here especially have been racing very aggressively, but this entire pack has been, again, the 11 is not pulled away, even when these guys are battling. So I think all these guys are on pretty even footing right now, so it'll be very interesting to see how that develops once the cycle cycles out. Looking further in the back here, JT Boyd is struggling today, JB Chanot is struggling today, but I'm mainly just looking for cars that are pitting, and it looks like none of them have yet, so everyone's still on the racetrack. I expect that to change here very soon. Lakin Herndon maybe looking for a pass for the lead before that cycle starts. Drafting up to the back bumper, the 11. He's going to peek to the inside in turn one, but he did not have enough momentum to make the move.
Tim Berry was able to block him there to the inside, take his line away, but Herndon still able to stay close to that 11 car. And, oh boy, I think Berry's pitting here.
He is pitting.
Oh, and look at Adrian Wheeler trying to split the middle between them. Herndon had to check up there. And that allowed the 40 of Wheeler to close in. Here comes Landry.
He's going
to force it 3-1.
Oh boy, somebody's got to give going into turn one, and nobody does. Wheeler trying to try and roll the middle here. Landry on the inside with an aggressive move just before the cycle. How's this going to work out when they go into turn three? Herndon looks like he ended up giving up. I think the 66 is going to pit this time by, but the others might stay out. No, the 40's coming in too. All the leaders coming in here. That was incredible right there. That move that the 66 pulled. James Harvin's still out there, but most of the leaders coming in now. Let's see where they come out in terms of the pit sequence. The 11's going to come out ahead of the 99, but the 99's got a pretty good exit off of pit lane. We'll see how the second group does in the pits. You also got to watch out in the pit lane for exactly that. The 32 and the 88 beta collision. Doesn't look like it's that severe, though, like the ones we saw at Auto Club under the third yellow. Harvin now in, as you can see in the background, so that should be everybody else. Wheeler will exit ahead of Landry, and then Herndon. And where is the 11 car? There he is. We'll see where he ends up relative to these guys. I think Adrian Wheeler might have jumped him, at least for the meantime, but he still has to get up to speed, and the 11 is closing in on him.
A slower pit stop there for the 39 at Lake and Herndon. Looks like he lost at least a decent amount of ground there under the pit stops. Got our last few cars coming out here, led by the 45 of James Harvin. Trying something a little different there, going a little bit long. We'll have to see how that plays out for him, but looks like the 40 of Wheeler is going to get up to speed, and looks like he will cycle out to the race lead here.
Great pit stop for the 40 crew, the Motor Racing Ventures team. They're the one team that won that isn't the two that I mentioned at the start of the show. Here comes Tajima underneath the 11. He's got something for Tim Berry. He's going to try and take over second, and he has closed in rapidly on the 40. Once again, the slow entry to turn one is biting him. And now, once again, they're all nose to tail, as if nothing happened.
It was a crazy corner there from Kia Tajima. Got by Tim Berry and just about drove up to the back bumper of the 40 Wheeler, and now he's taking the peak down to the inside there, going down the front straightaway. Tim Berry right on Tajima's back bumper. He's thinking about maybe 3 wide. I was going to think better of it as we go into turn number 1. Wheeler's going to roll that high side against Tajima. They're going to stay side by side here going down the back straightaway. Tim Berry behind, thinking of who to go with. To go with Tajima or to go with Adrian Wheeler. Looks like he's going to stay on the bottom of the racetrack, and it looks like that's going to pay off for him as Wheeler went a little bit wide there through turns 3 and 4, and Tajima is going to easily clear for the race lead. And it looks like Tim Berry is also going to sail by there for the second position as well.
Pretty good racing up front here between these three. Tajima trying to pull away, though. The 40 is not leaving the 11 alone, though. He is not giving up. He's going to try and get past him for second. You know, this is the exact kind of run that Adrian Wheeler's been needing. He just needs to finish out this good run, and that's been something that he struggled with. He had a good run at Auto Club. He had a good run at COTA. Wasn't able to finish either of them out. We'll see if he can manage to do that here. He's taken the fight to Tim Berry. Wasn't able to get under him that time, but he's certainly trying there in turn number 1. Tyler Landry, 1.6 seconds back of Kia Tajima in 4th. Lake and Herndon back there on his own. And then we got Jacob Lopez, James Harvin, and Karina Willis-Callaway, who's just kind of shown up out of nowhere into the top 10, racing these other 2 Motor Racing Ventures cars. So this team's having a pretty good day right now. They got 3 cars in the top 7 right now. Wheeler's still looking underneath the 11. We'll see if he gets second here through 1 and 2. And it looks like he might. And he will.
It's up there for Adrian Wheeler. Maybe starting to kind of figure out that issue that we saw the 40 car having into turns 1 and 2 earlier on in the race.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, these top 3 are just absolutely gone, as a 52 might have had an issue. Ashley Blake might have had a bit of trouble on the pit lane or something.
Oh, no, not again.
Oh, that'll do it.
Ashley Blake's engine blew last week while running in the top 10, and now she has a tire go down. That entire Blake Everett Motorsports team, they cannot buy a break this year. That's just been how it's been all year for them, and I feel so bad for them because, you know, there's just nothing you can do about stuff like that. But at least, unlike Auto Club, she's still in the race. She's a lap down, almost 2 down, but at least she's still running this time.
Wheeler looking to maybe take the fight here to Kia Tajima for the race lead, and Wheeler's actually pulled a little bit of a gap there to the 11 of Tim Berry, so maybe that 40 car has really turned on the jets here. Maybe the 11 is kind of just taking it easy here as we get into the middle stages of this run. Have to see what all goes down as this run goes along, but this 40 and this 99 are really, really fast here. Might be the fastest cars here out on the racetrack here during this second run. But Adrian Wheeler right now all over the back bumper of 99 of Kia Tajima, looking to try and find a way around, and looks like maybe here in just a couple laps time we might roll up here on the 52 of Ashley Blake. I don't think she's really off the pace or anything, but
No.
these guys are definitely a lot faster, so I have to see how they navigate their way around this 52 car.
Not a great 1 and 2 for the 40. That'll give the 99 a little bit of extra room, and this lap car, Ashley Blake, could affect this lead battle. Like you mentioned, she's not too terribly off the pace. She's a little bit slower than these cars, but nothing like concerning. She only had a tire failure. It wasn't like anything like with the engine or with anything mechanically underneath the car went wrong. That was just like that was just an extra pit stop because the tire went flat. But we'll see if she ends up affecting that. Maybe she's giving the 99 a bit of a draft, and that's letting him kind of pull away from the 40 and the 11 here. Landry's lost a lot of time to these guys, so he's kind of falling back to this group with the 39 and the 45. We got a lot of action going on right here. The 18 of Zach Dearman getting underneath Karina Willis-Callaway. Looks like Jacob Lopez might try to follow. He won this race last year, so he knows how to get it done here. He's once again up in the top 10. Not going to get past the 41, though. Andrew Kreider still having a good run back in 12th. Shauna Everett still having a pretty good run back in 14th, trying to at least get one good finish this year, because Everett's had, I mean, even more pace than Blake has, but something always goes wrong for her. Oh man. I thought that was about to be it right there. I thought that was going to be a huge announcer jinx, but she's fine. She's just going to wash up the track, lose 1 or 2 spots. Thankfully, nothing worse than that, but these leaders have kind of spread out from each other, and I can't help but wonder if it's that draft off the 52 that's kind of contributing to that.
They definitely could be playing a factor. Tajima's definitely probably has a little bit of draft here, and especially going down these long straightaways, it definitely could play a pretty big factor. But yeah, I got kind of scared too there. I thought that 57 was going straight into the outside wall. That's about as wide of an entry as wide entries get. Luckily, they were able to keep it off of the wall and keep going. But yeah, definitely getting really interesting up front as Tajima doing something that we really haven't seen so far here today. They have pulled away from the second and third place cars, now with about a 6-7 tenths of a second of a gap, excuse me, 6-7 tenths of a second gap to the 40 of Adrian Wheeler, and also a little bit of a gap back to the 11 of Tim Berry. So these top three have kind of separated themselves from each other, and then you got the 66 of Tyler Landry quite a ways back. And you got James Harmon there in 5th. Looks like that alternate strategy might be kind of working out for him, as right now he's sitting in the top 5. Lakin Herndon, unfortunately, that slow pit stop might have done him in a little bit, as he's now down to the 6th position and might be under attack here in just a couple laps time from that 18 of Zach Dearman. Still got 1 pit stop left in this race, and yeah, especially if this thing goes green, that could definitely be a deciding factor to who we see going out of here for this race win here.
I'm watching this lap car, the 52 of Ashley Blake, and she is fighting the 99 of Akia Tajima.
Uh-oh, we got an engine failure.
Harden.
Oh, no.
That's gonna be day done for him. That looks like the smoke of death coming out of him. So that's going to be a last place finish for Michael Harvin. And you know, as good a day as Motor Racing Ventures is having, that's the one guy that isn't having a good day, and that's going to be that's unfortunate for the elder Harvin brother. But I'm still watching.
Season so far for Michael Harvin.
Yeah, not been a good run. He's getting shown up by his rookie brother, that's for sure. But I've been watching the 52 and the 99 here. The 52 was giving the 99 a hard time for a few laps. She's kind of backed off now. The gap did close between the 99 and the 40, but it's stabilized ever since the 52 stopped fighting him. So, you know, Blake's 2 laps down at this point. I think, you know, there's definitely motivation for her to fight that 99 and get back to 1 lap down, because if we get a caution, she'll get her other lap back and end up on the lead lap. But we've run 50 green laps so far, so that caution's definitely not a guarantee. But now Tajima has a car in between himself and the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. I don't know for how long though, because we are getting close to that second cycle. I'm not entirely sure when they're going to come in, probably starting around lap 52, 53, somewhere in that range. But it'll definitely be interesting to see what these guys do. It looks like Tyler Landry's lost a few positions. He's back to 7th as he got passed by 3 cars, and James Harvin is now up into 4th. But those guys are well back of the leaders at this point. I think this is going to come down between the 99 and the 40, potentially the 11, but even he's starting to fall off the pace of the top 2.
Yeah, I think this 99 of Kizujima might be the car to beat here as we get into the later stages of this race. Have to see what they decide to do here under the pit cycle, but a 99 definitely arguably the fastest car on the racetrack right now, but at the 52 of Ashley Blake still maybe trying to fight for her lap back so that she could get back on the lead lap if in the event if we do have a caution flag. But yeah, I do think if anybody can fight this 99, I think at this point it's definitely that 40 of Adrian Wheeler. I have to see what that 40 car does in response to what the 99 does here under this pit cycle. And especially with this happening pretty late in the race, it's going to be interesting to see what everybody does. We'll have to see if maybe anybody makes any kind of different strategy calls. Oh, that was a great corner for Ashley Blake. Pulled right up to the back bumper of the 99, but it's going to stay in behind for now.
One thing that you got to remember is this 52 had to come down and change tires, so she has the freshest tires in the field. I wonder if she can actually make it to the end. That could save her race here if she's able to make it all the way to the end. If that ended up being her final stop, we'll have to keep an eye on that, but she's definitely faster than the 99 now that the 99 is kind of at the end of his tire run. So Blake could get in the way here. I'm again checking for anyone coming in, but nobody's coming in yet, so it looks like we're going to be pitting a little later here than at somewhere like Homestead, so we'll see. Blake again trying to get past the 99, but not able to do it. Adrian Wheeler is hoping these guys end up racing each other so that he can close in on him before the pit cycle. And we are closing in on 10 laps to go here at Kansas. Still no one coming in. We'll see. It's gonna happen here very soon. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And the first one to come in last time, I believe, might have been. I don't even remember. I don't remember who the first to come in was. It might have been.
I think it was Tim Berry.
It might have been Barry and Tajima that came in first. So Tajima might start the cycle again here. We'll see.
52 of Ashley Blake, definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. If that tire failure didn't put her in a position to make it to the end, it at least definitely puts that 52 in a position where they could probably do something a little bit different here out of this pit cycle. Maybe just try and gas and go 2 tires, something of that sort. It'll definitely get really interesting here, and I kind of like what this 52 is doing, kind of just staying in behind the 99, getting the draft, and kind of just staying with the race leaders, and that's probably giving that 52 a little bit of pace here.
Blake's going to look underneath the 99 right here and try and unlap herself. There's another lap car up ahead. It's Cooper Spur, but I don't think Tajima will catch him before the cycle starts. As we are now at 10 laps to go, the 52 and 99 are now fighting each other. The 40's going to try and reel him in, but he lost quite a bit of time in the laps before, so I don't think he's going to get to the 99 on the track, but he might be able to overtake him in the pits. Let's see what happens. I think the 99 might be thinking about coming in now, and it looks like he will.
Here we go.
Wheeler will stay
and Wheeler's
out.
going to stay out. So is Barry, I think.
Everybody is going to stay out.
Ooh.
Tajima was the only one to pit that lap, so he's going to undercut the whole field as the leader, which could win him the race. But if so, there's definitely ways where he can lose it because it is close enough to the end. We might see some guys try and stretch it a long ways so that they only have to splash and dash at the end. We'll see. Keeping an eye on what the 99 does in the pits. He is taking tires. He's taking right side tires, so I'd expect most of the rest of the field to do the same thing. I think Barry is now in the pits, potentially. Yes, he is in the pits. Corbin Taps,
Yep.
Karina Willis
Here we
Calloway,
go.
the Patriot Racing Inc. cars are in the pits. So, oh boy. I thought I saw someone with left side damage, but I can't find them anymore. But it looks like the 40 and the 45 are going to stretch it, and they're going to come in here on lap number 60. Or at least the 40 is. James Harvin's still out there. Zach Dearman's still out there. There you see Tajima on the racetrack. Kevin Dupont is still out there, so we got a few cars trying to stretch it here as long as they can before they end up eventually having to come in.
I believe these two were two that stayed out the longest during that first green flag pit cycle. Looks like they're going to be stretching it long here again, and same can be said for the 52 of Ashley Blake. But here these two come down the pit lane. Is Ashley Blake trying to stay out, or is Blake coming down?
Lulu Connie is going to stay out the longest,
Oh.
it appears. In the 42, going to try something. Let's go try and catch up to where Tajima is. There's the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. He's going to get beat out of the pits by the 99. The 32 looks like she had a slow stop, so that's unfortunate for her. But it looks like Tajima is going to come out with the lead in out of that group. Ooh, Kobe Hollenbeck also had a slow stop. Dearman and Harvin are side by side coming out of the pit lane. I think neither of them are going to overtake the 99. So it's looking like this is a Kia Tajima's. This is looking like it's going to be a Kia Tajima's race to lose here. With just 5 laps to go next time by.
Tajima pretty much undercut the rest of the field, like you said. Put themselves in a good position here because we only got a couple of laps to go, so the tire difference from undercutting in the long run really won't play into effect here. And got the 42 there, Lulu Connie coming out of the pit lane. Have to see where that 42 ends up. But yeah, Tajima, far and away the race leader, has, I think, over a 2-second gap back to the 40 of Adrian Wheeler.
Here's where most of our
needs to
action
hold on
is
here
right
for
now.
a couple more laps.
The 41 is
right here.
41's trying to pass the 18 for 4th. That is quite a lot of speed out of that 41 car. Or no, that would be for 4th. So Karina Willis-Callaway potentially walking away with a top 5 here. But the top 3 very spread out from each other and very far ahead of all of that mess. So again, I think unless something happens to Tajima here, that's going to be the race. And I think it's kind of funny, Caleb, you remember at Rockingham, it was this car that was ahead of the leader when Taps and Martin were having their battle. And once again, Jami McJasmine has found herself in the same spot. That's pretty funny.
Knows how to get more TV time than Cooper Spur.
I guess you're right. 2.7 second gap for Kia Tajima, trying to be the first Toyota to win a race. It's been all Chevy and Ford getting into victory lane here. But Tajima trying to be the first of the Toyotas to go into victory lane. And Columbia Motorsports, definitely one of the better teams in the field. Kind of a bit surprised that they haven't won by now, but it's looking like they've got this on lock. He's still pulling away from the 40 as all of this is going on. And it's looking very good for Kia Tajima right now to get his 3rd career LSCI win.
He turns 3 and 4, kind of just maintaining a gap right now back to the 40 of Adrian Wheeler, coming to the white flag. Let's just set down one more clean lap, and Tajima's got this in the bag. Looking for Columbia Motorsports' first win on the season. And like you said, Tajima's 3rd win of their career. And just an absolutely spectacular drive here today from that 99 of Kia Tajima. Definitely a well-earned victory in the making right here. Just 2 more corners to go.
Coming out of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air here at Kansas. It's going to be the 99 of Kia Tajima bringing it home. He's going to get his first win of the season at Kansas. Adrian Wheeler still with an excellent effort. He's going to finish 2nd. Tim Berry 3rd. Zach Dearman will hold off for 4th. Karina Willis-Callaway gets a well-earned top 5 as well. Jacob Lopez, Tyler Landry, Laken Herndon, James Harvin, George Bryan will round out your top 10 today. '99 team did exactly what they needed to do here in this race. and they pulled off the strategy right. That undercut, I felt like that move was going to win them the race, and it did. There were definitely ways that could have gone wrong. Like if a yellow had come out while he was in the pits, that could have been bad. But none of that happened. We didn't have any yellows at all in this race. I think this is the first Kansas race that I've run that's gone clean to the end. But yeah, that was an interesting race for sure. We had quite a lot of good battles up at the front, and then after that second cycle, Tajima just kind of took control. But Caleb, what were your takeaways from this race? What did you think about what we saw today?
Definitely a great race here from Kansas, as is usually the case here at this racetrack. A very a great race. So, like you said, we saw a lot of great battles, especially up towards the front. That was some spectacular racing, and nice to see the race go caution free. We usually associate Kansas with being a pretty chaotic track, and while there were definitely some pretty crazy moments during the race, nice to see it go caution free, and just what a drive by a Kia Tajima. Like you said, they played the strategy absolutely perfectly. And, good car, good strategy, great drive, and a little bit of luck on the side is a perfect recipe for absolute domination. What a race and what a win for the 99 of Kia Tajima. Nice to see Columbia Motorsports go to victory lane here for the first time this season. Definitely one of the more well-renounced team here in LSCI. So nice to see them get their first win here on the season, and definitely nice to see Kia Tajima go to victory lane once again.
Yeah, Tajima's one of the fan favorites, so there's quite a lot of Tajima fans out there that are going to be happy about this. Adrian Wheeler coming in
Yours
second.
truly.
Adrian Wheeler coming in second. This is his second. That's the second time he's finished second to Kia Tajima. So on a mile and a half track, if I the whole Dr. Doofenshmirtz nickel thing. Tim Berry, Tim Berry finishes third. That is now 7 consecutive top 10s to start off the year for Tim Berry. He's certainly going to extend the points lead further. He's just been on another level this year in terms of the consistency. Zach Dearman, after a uh, pretty poor showing at Auto Club, managed to rebound with a good finish. Karina Willis Calloway, it's always good to see Connie Twins Motorsports running good. Their other car finished 15th. They both got top 15s today. That's a great run for that small team. I always love to see Karina and Lulu do well. Uh, Jacob Lopez, Tyler Landry, we mentioned everyone in the top 10. Corbin Taps finishes 11th. Shauna Everett, Lori Jackson, shout out to both of them getting some good finishes, especially Shauna Everett. Everett is below 30th in points. I'm pretty sure she's 33rd or 34th, somewhere like that. She won the Clash at Calder Park, and it's just been a nightmare of a season ever since. Yeah, she is 33rd in points, so finally a good run for that 57 team. They definitely earned that. Towards the back of the field, Darren Walker, Kobe Hollenbeck, JB Chanel, Holly Martin. Actually, a lot of pretty good drivers that struggled here today. I was mentioning how this is a track where you need a good car, but I guess these guys just did not get the setup right, and not a good run there for those guys. Ashley Blake ended up finishing a lap down, 33 cars on the lead lap. So Blake did actually make it to the end on that, but unfortunately she lost a lot of time from the actual tire failure. So she didn't gain anything out of it, but she at least was able to finish only one lap down. And then we had one retirement. Michael Harvin blew an engine about midway through the race, and that was it. No accidents at all today, which is a good thing to see after we saw 3 cautions last week at Auto Club. Obviously, none of those wrecks were all that big, and we haven't really seen any big wrecks at all this year, which I'm definitely happy about. Uh, but we're looking at this stretch of the next 3 races we're going to. I feel like that's going to change because next week we have a real wild card because we're going to Hillside. And I have no idea how that race is going to go. I've done a lot of testing at the track, but I still can't figure out what that's going to entail. If you don't know, Hillside is a very high banked, mile long track. It's kind of like Dover, except with wider turns and shorter straights. Caleb, do you think you could try and give us a preview of how that race is going to go?
Honestly, it's one of those racetracks that's honestly kind of like Kansas. It's either, pretty calm, kind of like the race we saw today, or absolutely calamity. I definitely have my fair share of stories at Hillside, and wink, wink. But Yeah, it definitely ought to be a very interesting race, that's for sure. Like I said, it's definitely up in the air of what it might actually produce, but definitely looking forward to that one. It could definitely be a lot of fun.
And then after that, we go to Iowa, which last year had a pretty strange race. We had a car that Arca braked into cars under caution. Rebecca Raymond. But that race could definitely be a bit chaotic. And then, of course, after that, we know what race number 10 of the season is, the Lumen 500 at Daytona, which, if you don't know, if you're a YouTube viewer and don't know, that race is going to have 3 extra entries compared to all the other ones. And we're going to have a whole full on single car qualifying session. We're, of course, going to have our dual races as well. It's going to be a big thing. Unfortunately, just due to how busy my schedule is, we're gonna have to take about a month break right before that event happens. But uh, what a way to come back for sure. That's gonna happen around mid-June. But the next 2 races should be up within in the next 2 weeks as well. But yeah, this next stretch of 3 races, Caleb. If I'm a team owner, I think I'm a little bit on edge heading into them because any one of those 3 could devolve into absolute madness.
Definitely, for sure.
Well, that's going to do it for today's broadcast. Again, congratulations to Akiya Tajima and Columbia Motorsports on both of their first wins of the season. And once again, 7 different races, 7 different winners. Even with the varied ratings, we still have quite a lot of parity here in the LSCI. And that's been a big part of how LSCI has been. So I'm glad that I was able to keep that intact while also still clearly having a pecking order here. But that's exactly what I wanted to accomplish with the ratings, and so far that's what we've gotten. So on behalf of Caleb Rose, this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network signing out. Here are your points after race number 7 of the season. We're officially a quarter of the way through the year. We're going to see your points on your screen right now.